So let's hop in and talk about the best spot listings. So this is what I want to cover for creating the best listing for your spot. First, I want to emphasize that all this information can be found in our help center. I'm including a link in this webinar, and I'll publish this presentation following the webinar, so you can access all this through the link. For the best Sniffspot listings, how to make your listing just the perfect listing. First, make a friendly host profile with a clear personal photo. People that are visiting your spot, your guests, they want to know who you are. They're coming to your property. They're bringing their dog there. This is a personal thing. They want to know that you're a real person, that you're friendly. So just providing a clean host profile, it doesn't have to be anything extensive. With a clear photo of your face is enough to really build a lot of trust with people that might be visiting your spot. Second, have complete listing information. This is also pretty straightforward. Through your host account, you can go into your listing and just fill in all of the listing information that you might have there. Number three, and this is a really important one that is often a sticking point for hosts, add 5 to 10 really amazing photos of your spot. Many hosts don't do this, and it makes a huge difference. Number four, make it really easy to book your spot. This is another one where a lot of hosts don't do this, and it can make a huge difference. And number five, make sure that every guest that visits your spot actually writes you a review. This can also make a huge difference. We've seen that reviews on spots make a massive difference in how many new visitors they have and even in the repeat visitors they have. So let's hop in. For this, for going in depth for this webinar, we're just going to cover the last three: adding better photos to your spot, making it easier to book your spot, and making sure that every guest that visits your spot writes a review. And again, the detail on all of this, even things we don't cover here, can be found in our help center. So let's talk about photos. We're just going to walk through a few tips for how to make great photos for your spot. The first tip is, and this is a really easy one, make your photos in landscape format, not in vertical format. So as you can see on the left, this is a photo that's in vertical format. It's someone on their phone or using their camera that is holding it vertically to take that photo versus holding it horizontally to take a photo. It actually makes a huge difference in how it feels to someone viewing it. So it's a really easy one to do, to make all your photos in landscape format and not vertical, and it makes a big difference. A few other things that are important for photos. Variety. So when people are looking at your photos, they want to get a feel for your spot. So showing them photos from every angle of your spot will help people feel a lot more comfortable. People want to know, what's the fencing like? What's the ground like? What's the surrounding area like? So by providing a variety of photos, you can really help with that. Resolution matters. So having photos that are at least 1,000 by 700 pixels can make a big difference in just having a clear, crisp photo that helps people feel like it's higher quality. Cleanliness matters. So before you take photos, just clean up your spot, remove clutter, and make your space look very spacious and inviting. Time of day matters. So the golden hour, which is right after sunrise and right before sunset, you've probably noticed times like this where the light just makes things look great. That's a perfect time to take photos, and it can make a big difference in the quality and clearness of your photos. Subjects matter. So for these photos, especially the main photos for your spot, avoid photos that focus on people and dogs. Make the photos more about the space, because then people can see the space and they can imagine their dogs in the space. they're not imagining other dogs and people in the space. Features matter. So with your spot, emphasize photos of amenities and unique features that you think people would like. Because when people see those things, it's going to pique their curiosity. It's going to make them want to come visit. So by following these tips, it can actually help a lot. Let's walk through some actual examples of what good photos could look like for different scenarios with spots. So these are some examples of what good photos for a smaller type spot would look like. You can see here, they're in horizontal. They're taken with bright, clear light. They have kind of a good aspect and focus. Their subjects are clearly framed in the photos. You can kind of get an idea of, if you're looking at photos that you're adding, do they look like this? Here's another view for a larger spot, someplace that's more showing land. You can see that, again, they're horizontal, they're good light, they're kind of framing the subject in a way that's really attractive. So when you're looking at photos that you're adding to your spot, think about, do they kind of have the same look and feel as these type of photos? And lastly, amenities. So if you have really interesting things that are worth including about your spot, like agility equipment, even including chairs, shelter, seating areas, anything that would kind of make your spot stand out, including that in the photos, can be a really helpful thing. So let's move on to talk a little bit about making it easy to book your spot. And I'm going to go into more detail on this as well. So there are really three key things that can make it super easy for someone to book your spot. Our guests are looking for a place to bring their dogs frequently. As such, and in this day and age, people want to have a super easy experience booking a spot. So to make it seamless, do these three things. First, set the right booking preference for what you need. And I'll go into more detail on what booking preferences are and how you should set them. If you need advance notice, you can set that so people know exactly when they can actually book, so you're ready for them to visit. And number three, keep your calendar up to date. And I'll go through more detail on how exactly you can do that as well. If you do these three things, it's going to make it so easy for people to book your spot that it'll really increase the availability of your spot to your guests. Let's talk about booking preferences. There are two options for booking preferences. One is booking, the other is request to book. So booking is a booking preference where you can, basically any guest can book your spot without waiting for a confirmation. This is our preferred way of booking. It's really nice for a guest to be able to see a spot, see an available time, and know when they click book and they pay for that spot, they're going to be confirmed. That's a very nice instant gratification for guests. This is our preferred way of booking, when a guest can just see available time and then book that time and have it be confirmed. If for whatever reason you can't, if for whatever reason you aren't comfortable or you want to try it by waiting for a confirmation, you can select request to book. In this case, when a guest goes through, selects a time and pays, they're requesting that time. You'll be sent a notification. You need to confirm that time, and then the guest will be confirmed. Well, they'll get where they get your access information and your address, so they can actually come visit. And they're not confirmed until you accept them to come visit. So these are our two booking options. The easiest thing the easiest thing for the guest, and actually the easiest thing for the host, is to choose booking. So let's talk about advance notice. So You can set up to 24 hours of advance notice for your spot. What this means is, let's say, someone wants to book and come visit your spot. How far in advance do you have to be notified so that you're ready for them? Like, for instance, maybe you need to unlock the gate, or you need to do something else to get the spot ready for a person to visit. You can say, "Hey, I need 2 hours of advance notice in order to get my spot ready." And you, like I said, you can set up to 24 hours depending on what you need. This is another important one. Many of our guests are looking for spots that they can book last minute. Like, they get home from work and their dog needs exercise and they want to book something for that evening. So the less advance notice you can give, the better. If you have available times on your spot, making it such that your spot is completely available and ready for anyone to visit during those times is ideal. So many of our most popular hosts actually don't set advance notice, and most of our hosts don't set advance notice. So this is something that you can use just if you need that time to provide a good experience for your guest. So keeping the calendar up to date. This is something where most hosts get the idea of having a calendar with available times. We get a lot of questions from hosts about how do they actually update the calendar? How does it actually work? So I want to actually take you through a test listing to show you how the calendar can be updated and how you can keep your calendar up to date. So your spot only shows as available during times when you can actually have someone come visit. So let me take you over to that. All right, so you should be able to see this test listing that I've created in my own personal account now. So if you log into your account, this is what you'll see for your listing. If you want to edit and update your calendar availability, you can go to the calendar tab. Your calendar will load. You can see here that it, just like any other calendar, it shows available times. So let me show you how you can edit times that you already have blocked out. So to start with, let's say right now my calendar is blocked from 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. My spot is not available. And that is every day of the week, my spot is blocked during those times. So in this case, it's getting to be winter. I want to block out my time until 7 a.m. when it starts getting light outside. So I can just change the time here and I can click save. And then you can see here that the block is updated. And it's updated every day of the week indefinitely. So it goes forward every day of the week. Let's say that I have a doctor's appointment where I want to block out a specific time. I have a doctor's appointment on Wednesday the 9th at 9 a.m. So I'm going to block out time from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. You can simply select those times on your calendar and it sets up a time where you can block it, and then you can save your time and your calendar is saved. If there's any time where you make a mistake, let's say actually this availability was on the 10th, then you can go in and you can edit your calendar to change that date. If there's any block you have, which is no longer necessary, you can simply open the calendar editor and delete that block, and the block is removed from your calendar. So that's how calendar editing works. Like I said, this is super important for keeping your calendar up to date because it can cause issues, especially if you're set to booking when a guest sees an available time and wants to come visit, but your spot is not actually available. So making sure you keep your spot up to date can really help with making things really easy for your guests. So let's move on to the next piece of of having a great listing for your spot. What we've covered, what we just finished covering was making it easy for people to book your spot. And now we'll talk about the final piece of having a great listing, which is getting reviews. So this is really easy, and a really important part of having a great listing is getting reviews. When you're first starting out, you don't have any reviews, or you don't have many reviews. Getting every guest to write you a review can make a huge difference. Just getting your first review can make a huge difference for your guests. So what you can do after a guest visits, just follow up with them. Follow up with them through our messaging system, and ask them for feedback, and ask them to write you a review. This can be an easy way to get reviews on your spot, and that can just make a huge difference. If you have no reviews, getting one review makes a massive difference. And if you have 1 or 2 or 3 reviews, getting up to 10 reviews or more makes a massive difference on how comfortable people are with visiting your spot. So getting more reviews can make a major difference.